friends, welcome back to Cooking with Shelley, Pampered Chef style, and to my Pampered kitchen here at the Boston Tea Bed and Breakfast and Carp, just outside of Ottawa. Well, it is February, and it is Valentine's Day on the horizon, and in preparation, I am making a dessert. Now, what for Valentine's Day comes to mind first when it comes to desserts? Chocolate, of course, and maybe some other little delicacies like some strawberries and a nice refreshing drink with that, whatever your preference might be. So today we are making a Decadent flourless chocolate cake. Now this is what it's going to look like. And you can find all of these tools that I'm using today along with my recipe on my website at www.pamperedchef.biz/Shelley And if you're not already following me on my YouTube channel, please click the link and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as I'm getting this channel to grow, because if you haven't noticed, my Facebook cooking page has been down. Well, the page is still there, but I am not able to post to it since the end of September of 2023, just last year, because of a problem. My personal Facebook page got compromised, and so it was deleted by Facebook, and therefore I can no longer post to either my Cooking with Shelley Facebook business page nor my Boston Tea business page. So it is quite a conundrum. If anybody has any tips on how I can overcome that, please let me know, because it has been quite a challenge. So I thought I would instead look at building up my YouTube page and Cooking with Shelley right here on YouTube. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe in order to grow my channel. And of course, if there's any comments, anything that you have, little tidbits as we're going through here, I'd love to hear them. This cake is always a hit because it's rich in chocolate, and also it's flourless. So no matter what type of lifestyle that you're following, this one can be a great addition to your menu for whether it's Valentine's Day, a special occasion, or just to get together with friends and have a delectable dessert together. And of course, I'm all about health and wellness here on Cooking with Shelley, and so everything that I'm doing helps is reflected by the menus, the meals, the recipes that we use. And so throughout my nursing career, I have been focusing on wellness, and I continue to do that in my cooking and all aspects of life. So my aim here on Cooking with Shelley is to help you, busy lady, in the kitchen to put delicious, healthy meals on the table in the least amount of time, with the least amount of fuss, and in the least amount of time in the kitchen. So join with me, cook here if you like, and if you want to just hit the save or hit the link that I've put in the description, that'll take you right to this recipe. And also there's a link there for all the tools, a shopping link to check out all the tools that you're seeing me use here. All right, so on with the recipe. Right now, I've got my oven heating up to 350 Celsius, and I've got here my springform pan. Now, this is the older version, but the newer version is blue, so if you check that out, you will see that on my website. And I always like to use, because we're using butter in the recipe, I'm going to use butter to grease my pan. And if I was using coconut oil, then we would use coconut oil to grease my pan. And let me just first off, I'm going to cut my butter. So this recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup, and I like to use, because the butter comes in a 1 pound, 2-cup measurement, I like to use the measurement that comes on the paper with it. And so I'm gonna cut off, I got my cheese knife here, and I'm just going to cut off that amount, 3/4 of a cup of butter, and we're gonna cut that into smaller pieces. And you can, and then we're going to mix this with the chocolate and melt it all together. And I'm going to do it in the microwave. Now, I don't use the microwave a lot, but I do use it for things like melting my chocolate. I do find that it's an easy way to do it. And of course, you can always do it on the stovetop as well. Now, here is my chocolate. Now, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent here. So the recipe calls for 12 ounces or 350 grams of bittersweet chocolate. So I didn't have 350 grams when I went to my pantry today, so of one type. So I got a mishmash of different types. Number one, I've got some raw cacao, and I'm going to be honest, I have not baked with raw cacao or made desserts with it. So I hear that I'm in for a treat. I bought this at the bulk barn, and just because it was there, and I thought, sounds great, because raw cacao, of course, is the first form of the cocoa after it's taken from the bean, before it's turned into all of these bars of chocolate, which I also have bars of chocolate, of dark chocolate, unsweetened, like 90%. And then I also have some baker's chocolate, which I only had half a pack. I needed a full pack. So we just need to put this into pieces to make it go easier, quicker in the microwave. Just gonna do chop. Now I could get out my food chopper for this as well, but I'm not trying to chop it up into tiny pieces, just getting the bulk of it, get the big pieces chopped up. And so all that to say that if you don't have all of one type of particular ingredient, you can always try and mix things up with what you have, or make something with what you have in your pantry. And I do that more often than you might think. But of course, I'm always mixing things up anyway. Now, this seems like a lot of chocolate, so I did weigh it out. So I've got my scale here, and I put my classic batter bowl on top. It is glass, but then I tared it to 0 before I added my chocolate. So if you don't have a good kitchen scale, it is something that is worthwhile having, because to be honest, it would have been difficult to have the right amount of weight of chocolate if I did not have a scale today. It's one thing if you just buy it in a package all ready to go, like this baker's chocolate would have been 8 ounces, which would have been great, except I only had half a pack. So here we are. And that's okay, because this is real, this is realistic, this is life, this is how things go. And I've always told people that know me, you see, you get what you see, this is it, this is me, and this is how we roll. So we have here, 12 ounces of chocolate, and we have 3/4 of a cup of butter. It seems like a lot, but it is quite a big cake. And so we're just going to put this in the microwave for about a minute. I wish I had the butter on the bottom, but it'll go through. For about a minute to 1 minute 30. Okay. that will melt nicely there. Okay, so now that I've got chocolate everywhere, that's okay. Just wipe my hands here. So of course, February is also my anniversary month after joining Pampered Chef for 20 years ago. And I am having a little challenge or giveaway. So don't forget to comment every time you comment or every time you give me a thumbs up when you comment on this video. You will be entered into my draw for a prize for the month of February, and that will be held at the beginning of March, so after February is done. And also there's some other great ways that you can win, be entered into the prize. So if you'd like to know more about that, comment below and go into the description and you'll see more information on that as well. Okay, so I am just greasing my pan here so that it is all ready and non-stick. Now, this is a springform pan. You could also do it in things like a brownie pan. I've done this in the brownie pan as well. And so you get individual little cakes, which is wonderful. All right, so we'll put that aside. And let me have a look here at my chocolate. So we might, what you can do is just once, because it's heated up, you can just let it all sit and it should dissolve on its own in the heat of the chocolate rather than take the risk of cooking the chocolate. And that's what I'm going to do here. Just going to let it sit and hopefully it will all just melt nicely there. Now the cocoa nibs, the cacao nibs are still kind of grainy, so we'll see how that's going to turn out. All right, so I'm just going to set this aside and let this just kind of do its thing. And next we are going, remove this one as well. So next we're going to separate our eggs. And so I've got here my small batter bowl and my egg separator. Because we've got 5 eggs, got my free run eggs here. So 5 eggs. And I love to have an egg separator so that we don't mix up the yellow. Get some yellow in there with the white. And this is what kind of takes some of the time. But having the egg separator, it goes much more quickly. There we go. So I would love to know if you have another method. If you don't have an egg separator, of course, we know that you can still do it. It's just that oftentimes, I don't know about you, but lots of times before I had my egg separator, I would, the yolk would get pierced by the eggshell lots of times, and then you'd end up with pieces of yolk in your egg white, which is not detrimental. However, if you're trying to have a nice white stiff egg peak meringue, then that can cause a bit of a little boo-boo. All right, so 4, and it is, yes, I know it's a lot of eggs, and thank goodness the price, the cost of eggs have come down a bit in the past year. Remember when they were just skyrocketing. Now, because I do buy free run and organic whenever possible, it is still quite expensive, but you can see that these are nice and orange eggs. And usually at the grocery store ones, you will see that they are very pale in comparison to the free range. Okay, so I've got my butter and my chocolate here, and now we're going to take our cup of sugar and our sweetener, and my egg yolks, and we're going to use Stan, my friend Stan the mixer here. And if you don't have a mixer, this is a great one to get. This is the Pampered Chef Stan mixer that came out last year, and it has all the beating, mixing, and beat, mix, whip, cream, and then you can do custom, and you can do knead, and there's a knead for bread as well. So that does it all for you. It's pre-programmed so that you don't have to take the guesswork. It takes the guesswork out of it. So I'm putting in here my 5 egg yolks. And we've got 1 cup of sweetener. And my sweetener, I'm using erythritol, so it won't affect your blood sugar, and which is great for anybody that's following a low carb diet, or who is diabetic. This is a great alternative. And of course, you could always use stevia or another type of one as well. So I'm putting it to beat, which is 2 minutes. And so that will just do its thing while I'm doing my next thing. And the beating, you don't have to worry then about the speed, because it picks up and slows down. And so if you don't have one that is pre-programmed with, you just mix it on medium. Heat it on medium speed, okay? All right, so next what we're going to do, while this is beating and basically well integrating, is I'm going to prepare the other part of my chocolate, which is cocoa. So this is like triple chocolate. Did I mention that this is a triple chocolate cake? So we've got a 1/4 cup of pure cocoa. This is organic, unsweetened cocoa. Not hot chocolate, okay? This is cocoa. Cup. I'm just going to put it in my small prep bowl here. And then to that, we want 3 tablespoons of hot water. Tablespoons. And 2. And look at that. Wouldn't you know, but 3 tablespoons is actually 1/4 cup, pretty much. All right. So just get my other little scraper here. I have a whole range of scrapers whenever I'm baking. I'm always using different ones for different things. And basically, you just want to make a bit of a paste. And before I do that, I need some vanilla. And before I wet my spoon with my vanilla, then I am going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And this is my adjustable measuring spoon here, so it's great. 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar that is going to be added into my egg whites, and those are going to be beaten after when I do that. So 1 teaspoon of double strength Madagascar vanilla here that I'm using. Look at that. I'm getting to the end of everything here. And this is a great vanilla if you're looking for one. It's very potent. You only need a small amount. This is 1 teaspoon for this whole cake. And so I've got my paste, my cocoa, along with some water and vanilla. And then I'm going to add this into my chocolate mixture. But first, here, let me just move this chocolate mess away. Okay, great thing about those silicone cutting mats is that they're so flexible. All right, so I've got here my chocolate, and it is all melted. And you want to make sure that it is so that you can incorporate it. I'm going to put it in for another 30 seconds. Now, the other thing that I could have done was put this in the oven as I'm heating the oven. And then that would have melted in the oven as well. I'm just putting that for another 30 seconds. And putting it in the oven, then you don't use the microwave at all by doing that. And I do that often, to be honest. Okay, so we've got our eggs here, eggs and our sweetener, okay? Egg yolks, I should say, and our sweetener. And then here we've got our cocoa, vanilla, and a little bit of water, hot water, just to melt that. And then we've got our chocolate and butter that's coming up right now. Now I think I'm going to maybe have some little cacao nibs in my cake, but that's okay. It's just more intense flavor when you bite into it. That's what it will be. Because cacao nibs, they're not dissolving really easily. I'm just going to do a little bit of a crush here and see if I can get that just a wee bit smaller. The flavor is there, but the nibs are still a little bit crunchy. It'll be almost like having some nuts in it. Now, I'm not putting any nuts in the cake, but I will be putting some walnuts on the cake, along with decorating with some chocolate covered strawberries. Doesn't that sound great? Okay, so we're just going now to add the chocolate mixture in here. I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to start it up on mix on high speed. add in the chocolate mixture. Just want to make sure it's not hot because we don't want to cook the eggs. It doesn't even taste like it's not bitter per se. Okay. Now, because I ran out of the baking chocolate, I'm going to have to use chocolate chips for the top, because the top will also be chocolate, the topping. So we've got cocoa and chocolate in the mixture, and then on top the icing will be just chocolate. And I'll probably put maybe a little bit of coconut oil in that. Now I'm going to keep this bowl close by because I'll be melting my chocolate fur on top in this one, so there won't be any waste. This is one great thing about the scrapers, is that you can actually prepare your bowl almost for your next recipe because it just spits everything out. I'm just going to put this little bit in with the cocoa mixture. Technically, I guess I could have put the cocoa mixture in together, but I'm just following the recipe as it goes. And it's been over a year since I made this recipe, so I don't really recall how I did it last time, but you could go to my Facebook page, and I did post it there once as well, and Cooking with Shelley on my Facebook page. So you can check that out. Now that is just mixing it all up there. It's getting all nice. It's too bad that I don't have an overview camera, because that would have been really good. And so now I'm just going to add the cocoa mixture and mix again. Just put this in. On medium speed once again. And that's what the mix is. Basically medium speed. And it will change the speed just a little bit there. Now in the meantime, I have to beat my egg whites. And I wish I had a second bowl for this one, but I don't. I guess that's going to be another addition to my tools, to have a second bowl, because it really does help to be able to do that. So I'm going to have to put that into here. While I'm mixing up my egg whites. So this is, of course, not a traditional cake that you would have, and therefore a little bit of patience and perseverance comes with that. And that is pretty much done. Just blend it. All right. And so I'll just let you see here what we have. So this is what it looks like. Okay. And I'm just going to put this now I'm just going to transfer it here into this bowl. So we got a big blob, and get all of this out. There we go. And I've just got a sink full of water waiting there to just clean this bowl. And I'll just put you on wait while I do that. Okay, so we are back with a clean bowl. I'll just pop that one in, and I've put on my my beater, my whipping utensil. And so now we're just going to put our egg whites in here. There we go, and I'm going to put that on beat or whip, I should say. Put it on whip. And we just want to get a nice meringue in there. Just got another scraper. It's my third one now for this recipe that I'm using. Just want to get a little bit of cream tartar out of my small batter bowl here. You know, these are just so useful. I have, as you can see, I've got the large batter bowl, the small batter bowl, and then I've got my little cup bowls going on here. So these are always great to have. So now this one is just beating. My oven is at temperature at 350 Fahrenheit, and you want to make sure that you have your oven all ready to go, because this is just going to go, once I put my egg white, it's going to go mixed into here, into the chocolate recipe. And this is so thick, it's almost like a paste. And then we're just going to fold it in a little bit at a time, and just put it into the pan, and off we go. And then, as I said, I'm going to melt some chocolate and dip some strawberries. I've got some fresh strawberries, and I'll let them cool, and that way it'll be all ready to put on the cake when the cake is all cool. So once I put this in the oven, it's going to be in the oven for about 40 minutes at 350, and then I'm going to go for a walk while that's happening, and then I'm going to let that cool, and I'll make the glaze, and I'll put the glaze on top, and it'll all cool kind of together. Here we've got some nice peaks forming. Now you notice that there's no sweetener, no sugar in the egg whites. The sugar, the sweetener, went in with the chocolate, so because it went in with the egg yolks at the beginning. So that's why a little bit of cream tartar helps to give a stiff peak to help whip up the egg white. It's almost done. And you see the countdown here with the mixer. It's 30 seconds to go, and it will be perfect egg whites. This is amazing how easy that works. You just think of everything again. Alright, so, and then for the topping, I hope you can hear me okay. For the topping, it's just going to be 4 ounces or half a cup, 125 grams of semi-sweet chocolate. And I've got dark chocolate again, but I'm using chocolate chips this time, and 5 tablespoons of butter or coconut oil, whichever you want. Now, look at this. See that? This is perfect egg whites. It's not coming out of the bowl. Yay. So that took about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Now I'm just going to fold a portion of the egg white into the chocolate. And you want to fold it so that you're not beating the air out of the egg whites. And that's why it says fold, and you don't beat it all in at the same time with the mixer. So just gentle. And I can see some of the little cacao nibs in here. It's going to be interesting to see how that all tastes when you're taking a bite of it. And so we're actually having dinner with friends. This is our Valentine's Day dinner recipe. And we will be enjoying this recipe with some friends. So it's wonderful. And now I can just fold the rest. So that was about half. Would have been great if I had another big bowl like that to do it all in, but this, the classic, the large batter bowl, is just right, because this one holds 8 cups or 4 liters. So that's a good size, and it does come with a cover. So if you get to this point and you're not ready to bake it yet, you could prepare it a little in advance if you want it, and just say if you had to run out or whatever, just put the cover on and put it back in the fridge until you're ready to bake with it. Now, I have not done that with one of these cakes, so I'm not sure how the batter would be after it's been in the fridge, but I would imagine that it should be fine. Now, I've been on another baking frenzy here with doing sourdough, so check out my videos coming up on sourdough baking, and if you're interested in that, then that would be another way that we could bake and break bread together. If you'd love to, if you'd like to get more of my recipes, you can always check them out on my website, as I said, at www.pamperedchef.biz/Shelley. Now, yes, this is a bit of work. It's a labor of love to make a recipe like this, for sure. However, it is so worth it in the end when you bite into that ooey, gooey, delicious chocolate cake. OMG, it is so good. So what you're going for here is just so that it's all integrated without any big streaks going through. So what makes this cake to be nice and fluffy? Well, fluffy is a term that, you know, means something different to each person, but it is a decadent chocolate cake, and because there's no flour, the eggs is what really gives it its oomph and the texture that you would get instead of like to give it the cake-like texture is what I'm trying to say. And if you are vegan, then unfortunately this recipe, I can't see it working with like an egg substitute such as flax or chia. But if you do try it, and if just let us know, come back and let us know how it works out. Or if you have an alternative as to what we would use to make this a vegan recipe, that would be great to know as well. All right, so this is all done, ready to go in the pan. And as I said, my pan has been greased with butter, and now I'm just going to pour it all in here. As you can see, this is quite a substantial cake mix here. So if you wanted to divide it into two smaller pans, you could do that as well. This is quite, it's not a cheap cake to make, that's for sure. But at the same time, I am using ingredients that were in my cupboard, so I didn't have to go out and buy a load of things for this one today. And if you're the type that has chocolate lying around in your house and eggs, then this is not a difficult cake to make. All right. Just going to get the other scraper to get the scraper. Get all the chocolate off of this one and try not to have any white streaks in it. There we go. Use a scraper to clean the scraper. Don't want to lose any of that, leave any of that goodness, chocolate goodness behind. Now, as I said, I'll just use that bowl after to make my chocolate toppings. So there won't be any chocolate wasted, put it that way. Put this one over here. And I'm just using my small spreader to even it out, the top. And I like to give it a couple of knocks on the counter, and that will just help get any air bubbles up. And that's it. Here we go. In the oven for 40 minutes at 350. And I'm going to set my timer. And off we go for a walk. And when we come back, I will show you the finished cake, okay?